Hello, welcome or welcome back to Sapling Tarot. My name is Imogen, and today I'm going to be doing the You in the Tarot tag, which is a bit of an old tag originally by Gigi Starling that was brought to my attention by the lovely Sarah from Tangy Tarot. I thought that this would be a nice little kind of mostly light-hearted, shortish video today. And then I started all kind of doing, like, writing out what I was going to talk about, and it's not as light-hearted as I thought it was going to be at all. So buckle in, hopefully it'll still be a short one, and let's jump into it. So the idea of this tag is to basically do like one of those old memes, what society thinks you do, what your parents think you do, what your friends think you do, and what you actually do. And so it's using two decks, and I'm going to pick cards from one, and then I'm going to pull cards from another. And the categories are how society sees you, how your family sees you, how your friends see you, how you want to be seen, and how you see yourself, so like who you actually are. And I'm going to show you the cards. I think the idea was to do this by going kind of off your own instinct of what other people would think. But I had a bit of time, so I asked people what cards they associated with me, and I thought that was fun. It would make the video a little bit longer, but it was kind of a fun twist on it. I'm going to do them a little bit out of order because my answer for how society sees you, or how society sees me, is maybe a little bit dark, and I didn't want to jump straight into that. So we're going to start off with how my family sees me, and for that I asked my mum, and my instinct for what she might, or how she might see me, was accurate, which is the Fool. But she also had some like runners-up cards, and I also took notes of her reasons for them. So the Fool I have in my notes because they're in a fancy outfit, they seem quite carefree, they've definitely packed enough snacks, they're going on an adventure, they've got a little friend, and they've got flowers, and generally there was just like a campness to the card, which follows on to the other cards that she thought of, which is another fancy outfit from the Page of Cups, the camp pose, talking to and listening to this nice little fish. They're also by the sea, and then also the Page of Swords, similarly kind of camp pose but with a sword, so everything above but also will fuck you up. And then the Page of Pentacles looked more kind of like thoughtful and considerate, and also there was the flowers. And then she thinks that who I'm on track to be is the Queen of Wands, which is quite flattering. She liked the sunflowers. I'm a big fan of cats, so the lions and the little cat all over it, but then also the growing of things. And then just kind of gut instinct, she quite liked the Ace of Wands because it was growing things and looked like quite an adventure. She also liked the Star because, tits out, I used to do burlesque, and so this felt quite accurate to her, but also when I was very small I really loved just playing with water, and so this felt like a bit of me as well. And then she also took it upon herself to give the card that she thought that our pet rabbit would want me to be, which is someone who's grown a lot of cabbages for him to eat. So that is what my mother thinks of me. I also asked one of my friends to go through the cards in this deck and to pick out the card that she thought summarised me, and she picked out the Strength card, which I thought was interesting. Not necessarily a card that I really associate with myself, but she said that it was mostly like a gut instinct thing if it was the one that suited me best, but also the figure looks like they're being really gentle with the lion, and so she thought that I have kind of like a quiet strength, and this is comically uncomfortable for me to be sort of like tooting my own horn like this in a video, but that was what my friend said. And then how society sees me. So it's a little bit of a tricky one because I'm disabled and I don't work in a kind of classic way, and so society's perception of me is not super kind. So I'm kind of worried that society sees me as a burden. I mean, also that I'm kind of mad and that I'm a bit of an outsider. And then also I am gay. So I just kind of thought I'd throw the devil in there for good measure. But I think kind of most of all the thing that I'm worried about what society thinks of me is that I'm a burden, and that's the thing that I feel most keenly, I suppose, and the thing that I worry about the most is that. So, how would I like to be seen? I think probably my instinct is that I would like to be seen as the High Priestess, because there she is. Because I feel like she's the person who knows the tarot best in the deck, and I would like to be that. I also like the pomegranates, and yeah, that's kind of my instinctive pull. But I also think that as I get older, my outlook is turning outwards. It was a really clunky sentence, but I'm kind of moving from really kind of dogged self-improvement to thinking about community more. And so I think I would quite like to be the Queen of Pentacles, because I always read this particular card as kind of, it's a card of abundance, like, you know, the Nine of Pentacles or the King of Pentacles, but there's like a sharing thing to it. So it's kind of like the Six of Pentacles, but with like more of a lateral sharing. It's not, I have lots and so I'm such a good person, I'm giving you something because you have nothing. It's like she is one with nature and she's giving back to nature, and kind of all of the animals and the trees and the vines and stuff are all growing from her, and I think that's kind of what I want to be, I think. I mean, this changes all the time, who I want to be. The card that I think is like who I want to be, Queen of Wands, I think is something that I think of quite a lot. The King of Cups is a card that I have up quite a lot because of that balance of kind of heart and head. Is something that I strive for, but at the moment I'm like thinking about the most about kind of how I can work kind of more like mutually with my community and be like a part of something like that. It's all got a bit deep. And then the final card is who I think I actually am. I think I'm probably the Three of Pentacles. I am, and I mean this kind of goes back to what I was just saying, I'm a collaborator, I'm a cheerleader. I used to take on kind of leadership roles quite a lot, but I think really where my talents are in like that's kind of supportive role. I would be really happy and content with my life if my main kind of legacy or whatever was that I helped others achieve greatness or helped others be happy or content or sort of satisfied with their life, and that is kind of sort of how my life is heading, and I'm really happy with that and kind of moving away from the really intense individualism and feeling like I have to be entirely independent and dependent on no one. I prefer the idea of life being a bit more kind of symbiotic. But something else that I think does come up a lot in terms of how I think I actually am is, I mean, I've got very big, you know, like hermit energy. I also think like the Hanged Man is is something that I resonate quite a lot with, of seeing everything from a little bit of a different angle. Maybe it's the autism, maybe it's just, me in general. The Hangman is my card for the year, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, and it's something that I find very easy to connect with. But also in my notes, the Hangman of just being that a little bit removed, a little bit of an outsider, but not in a negative, sad, lonely way. But then also I've got who I actually am, which is the Nine of Wands, and I have had I get knocked down, but I get up again, never gonna keep me down, stuck in my head ever since I started thinking about this, and so I think that deserves a mention, but also the Four of Swords, because did any of these have just one option? No. The Four of Swords, I've had a really extended period of autistic burnout where I've just not really been able to do anything, and the Four of Swords has been a card that I've been thinking about a lot. I have a blog post about it from the year before last, and if you're interested in more of my thoughts about the Four of Swords and burnout, you can read that. But otherwise, this is a way longer video than it was meant to be. So I'm going to stick that there. I'm going to try and be a bit more positive. I was going to put the Nine of Wands, but let's do that. Right. Anyway, okay. So these are the cards that I have chosen for how society sees me, how my family sees me, my friends see me, who I wish to be, and how I see myself. And so now we're going to see what the tarot thinks. I'm using my deck of the month, which is the Goddess of Love Tarot by Gabriella Herstick. Mine is already a bit bent because it's a little bit too big for my hands, and so I've definitely been kind of curving it as I've been shuffling. I've tried to kind of riffle it back, but it's already kind of fucked. I edged it in this kind of reddy pinky colour, but it could probably do with a trim, so I might do that again. So, what does the tarot think about how society sees me? Oh, okay. Judgment. When I do challenges like this, I do like to read from the guidebook, so I've pulled that out, because I like to do the reading as if it's kind of in the tarot's own words, if that makes sense. So, society sees me as the reawakening that happens when your beliefs about the possibilities of the universe and your fixed identities are sacrificed in the primal fire of existence. Power of mysteries dissolve, raising as the phoenix from the ashes, signify the purification of ending cycles and beginning other ones. Painful, soul-wrenching contraction that happens before expansion. A new way of being, transformation, or a current that you can utilise, raise and work with to alchemise your circumstances and reclaim your power. Okay, so society sees me as having been reborn through fire. I'll admit that I'm kind of struggling with that a little bit, because I walk a bit of a fine line between, it's something that I've talked about a fair bit, quite possibly on this channel, is juggling feelings of needing to know my limitations so I don't do myself a mischief and burn myself out again, but also not wanting to limit myself. And so this kind of feels a little bit similar in this balancing act between owning my past and the experiences I've had, but also not wanting to be defined by them. And so I love the idea of burn it all down and start something new, and that does feel like where I've been at, and kind of should do a controlled blaze. And yeah, I can see people who don't know me as seeing that I've thrown away a lot of potential that I had in order to, I know that it was in order to like save myself, but from the outside I can absolutely see that I've just like, it probably looks like I've just thrown a load of shit away. And so I'll take this. I mean, this is why you don't do tarot readings for yourself online. This is like the third one I've done, and I mean, I need to just learn my lesson. This is way, way deeper than I maybe thought it was going to be. But yeah, so the idea that society sees me as someone who has just thrown it all away, but I know it's for a greater purpose. Right, okay, let's fucking get to it. How does my family see me? Ace of Cups. Interesting. Okay, so when I think of my family, I generally only think of, like, my really close family. I don't necessarily think of extended family or family I don't see very often. And so I can kind of see this. Like, I think they know me as kind of maybe a little bit of a swan-like person, so looking kind of chill on top but frantically swimming underneath. They've seen me through that, and this feels kind of like it's a similar energy, isn't it? Aces and the Fool. And so that's kind of nice to have that. And then you've got the roses and the little white fluffy pal. But then also, I mean, there's the water, which like my mum said about, you know, wanting to find a card with the sea in it, something that's really important to me. But yeah, seeing me as this like at the beginning of something, and that rings quite true, I think, for how they see me, of kind of having seen me go through this. So if we're going kind of wands, cups, swords, pentacles, or an order of sorts like that, they've kind of seen me go through this journey and like starting something new. So that's quite nice. Okay, I'll take that. That is less deep. Okay, my friends see me as the Wheel of Fortune. Fuck this card. Okay, so Sylvie just did a video, Tarot Magpie just did a video about the Wheel of Fortune because this is their card of the year. I talked about it, you know, at a reasonable length in my Finding Your Cards in the Tarot video. I really struggle with the Wheel of Fortune. It's my birth card. Let's find out what this particular book says about the Wheel of Fortune, because, oh man. Okay, I mean, it is a she in the gig, so we love to see her. The omen of divine transformation. I mean, that is true. My friends have seen me through, I mean, all sorts of shifts and changes. A blessing from the universe. Do they see me? Is that it? Is that what we're taking from this? My friends see me as a blessing from the universe. Sure, why not? I'll take that. My friends see me as a she in the gig type character. Hilarious. Wouldn't be wrong. I mean, maybe not now, but in the past. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I can... The Wheel of Fortune, I just find it's such a transient thing that, like, if you're thinking about the question of how do my friends see me, and, you know, I realise that this is effectively like a third-party reading, but we're talking archetypally, we're talking generally speaking. I'm not thinking about any specific person. I mean, one specific person picked this card, but I'm just thinking, like, broadly speaking, how am I perceived by friends? And, like, it's just a difficult card to figure out how to answer that. I mean, I suppose, like, I'm a friend for the rough and the smooth. They've seen me go through transformations and changes over and over again, but that sort of feels more like a death card thing. But yeah, I mean, I stick around, and I am a constant, I suppose, in a way, like the Wheel of Fortune and, like, change. And I generally stick with people through thick and thin, and I'm gonna take that as, like, a nice thing. Okay, on to what does the tarot think I want to be? The Seven of Wands. The tarot thinks I want to be the Seven of Wands. Well, I mean, this is one to journal, isn't it? Going by what this particular tarot deck and this particular creator says. The affirmation that comes with this card is that I live in my erotic power in my energy and in my truth. And yeah, I suppose I do want that. The journal question is, how can I channel my power while still opening my heart to empathy and compassion? And that is, yeah, I mean, that is something I want. I'm sure everyone wants that. But like the balancing of being able to manage conflict and able to manage stress. But yeah, being able to manage conflict but without losing myself, being able to hold compassion and empathy in conflict without kind of retreating. This is something more like specific, I suppose, than I was thinking about. I was thinking more, I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, I was thinking more like archetypally. And so the Seven of Wands, but I mean, that is definitely something that I do want to become more skilled with, is being unafraid of conflict, and particularly within my personal relationships, and being able to rely on and trust that voicing my stress or my difficulties doesn't mean that people are going to like run away. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just like it's more personal perhaps than maybe I was thinking I was going to go with this video. Right, final card. Who am I actually? Who does tarot think I am? I mean, tarot thinks I'm a fool. That is... I'll fucking take it. I will. I'm fine with that. I mean, the tarot thinks I'm the void doesn't feel super flattering, but we've had some nice cards. So the void is birth and death and rebirth expressed as infinity, and that feels like what I was talking about with the Wheel of Fortune, I suppose, and also Judgment. Like, these three are all about, yeah, the transformations. Yeah, so the tarot, or particularly this tarot, the Goddess of Love tarot, believes that I am at the beginning and at the end and in the middle all at once. And I think that really sums up this reading, and the tarot and my mum are in agreement that that's who I am, with sufficient snacks, always. So there we are. Thank you so much for watching. If you know me, but also maybe particularly if you don't know me, please let me know what you think of this, if there are any cards that you associate with me. But also, if you haven't done this tag, I know it's a bit of an old one, and I mean, it's a wee bit personal perhaps. What do you think your cards would be? I would be super interested to know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're taking really good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.